Well, morning everyone, and welcome back to the vlog. It's going to be a real challenge today. We've got some really bright sunshine. I'm following along the River Tummel, which flows out of Loch Rannoch. And we've got some beautiful trees, as well as the river that comes down with a few waterfalls. So I think the idea of today is really just to follow along, see what we can capture. As I said, the light's going to be a challenge, but well, we like a challenge. So let's go see what we can find. I'm working my way through the tree line and just stopping now and again and glancing around just to see where the light's falling and just to see if any composition's changed. Places like this, there's loads of undergrowth, there's lots of trees, so it's just picking out those fine compositions and always just checking your surroundings just to see what's behind you and what the light's doing. Okay, so I've come across this lovely scene where we've got a burn coming down which leads down into the river, and where it's still, some of it's still in the shade, we've still got a lot of ice formed from where it froze overnight, and we've got these beautiful, some of the roots are holding some of these lovely ice formations that are coming down on the right hand side, and we've got the water cascading through the middle. Now the light is still very strong and harsh. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exposure bracket, take around 3 or 4 shots, and then drop the exposure by a couple of stops each time. And then what I'll do is when I get back, I'll bring it into Photoshop and blend those together. And hopefully that will give me a good range of contrast within my image. There's not a lot of huge interest at the bottom of this falls where the water's actually coming down, but I'm hoping that there's enough interest within the ice formations to my right and coming down the rock onto the left, just to give the image that bit of interest. And there's a wee bit of light just on the top as well, so I think that will draw the eye in. Okay, so I'm shooting on my 28 to 70mm lens, I've got a polarizer on the front, but that's not really making a lot of difference with regards to the reflecting light because the sun's right behind me. But what it is doing is it's enabling me just to slow the exposure down just a little bit further. I'm on f18, and as I say, I'm going to take a series of shots, just dropping down 2 stops each time, and then I can look at those in Photoshop and blend them if needed. So you can see on the back of my camera, we've got these lovely ice formations coming down on the right-hand side, dripping down from the roots that are coming out of the bank, with that lovely water coming down centrally. But as I say, you can see it's really capturing the light. I might come back again a little bit later on when the lights come further around to take another shot. But we've got this nice ice formation coming down on the left as well, which really helps to sort of encapsulate the water coming down through the middle. There's a little bit of a highlight just on the top part of the image there, right up in the top, which I think will help to draw the eye through. So, as I say, I'm going to take several shots, multiple exposures, and then, yeah, should be a good image. Okay, so I've come across this lovely wee small scene on the burn down here. I'm going to have to say this pretty quickly because I'm starting to feel the burn in the back of my legs already. But I'll just show you on the back of the camera. We've got this lovely ice formation on the left-hand side with some more ice coming down on the rock to the right. And at the back of the image there, we've got some lovely golden light that is just catching the trees and the green moss behind, which is going to really make a lovely interest. And that light is going to pull your eye through the image all the way to the background, which will be really nice. I'm shooting on my 28-70 lens and just sort of playing around with the exposures. I want to make the water nice and soft, but not too soft that I lose the details. So anyway, I'm going to take a few shots, and here's the image. So I've come across this stunning ice formation that's sat over the burn here. And what's happened is where the burn is flowing underneath, it's worn away the ice, or the ice is melted, and it's left this network of ice pieces that interlock, sat above the water. And what's happening is we're getting this lovely dark colour from the burn that's coming through, and really emphasising those interlocking ice pieces. And sat on top of there, we've got some lovely skeleton leaves that are just giving a little bit of splash of colour to the image. I don't want to, unfortunately, I can't really move anything because it's so delicate. So what I'm going to do, I've switched over to my macro lens, and I've positioned the camera so that it's sat perfectly flat over the image, because we've got such a narrow depth of field, shallow depth of field, that I want to make sure that the camera is sat dead level and flat with my image, so that everything is nice and sharp. And if I zoom in on some of those leaves, even some of the detail on the leaves are quite incredible. So what I'll do is I'm going to take a few shots from here, including the ice, and then perhaps move in closer and get some real fine detail on those leaves. But anyway, here's the image. So I don't know whether you can hear me that well. The amount of water coming down the River Tummel today is just incredible. I'm guessing it's probably snow, a combination of snow melt and a few days of rain, but I can understand there's a hydro at the other end of this river, and I can totally see why, because the force and the pressure of the water coming down through here is just incredible. I'm never going to get an image shooting out across here. There's no foreground interest or anything, but I'm looking out across at another smaller waterfall that is just coming down between the rocks, and I'm using my 70-200 lens to really get in close. And it's too bright at the moment and I'm shooting into the sun, but when that sun goes, we get this lovely torrent of water that is lapping underneath the waterfall, with then the water coming down between the rocks, and the rocks are just capturing the beautiful golden light. So what I'm going to do is just wait for that sun to drop behind the cloud again, and then get a few more shots. So you can see that I'm really just focusing in on this small waterfall in front of me there. This is too much raging water and not really any foreground interest. So what I've done is I've got my 70-200mm lens and I'm zoomed in, and I'm just focusing on that bottom part of the waterfall. And you can see the turbulent water that's just lapping underneath it, and then we've got the water coming down. I'm just missing in between the sun going behind the cloud and out again, just so that there's not too much bright light in the image. But and I'm taking lots of shots because I want to make sure that I can still see that bottom rock as well, where the water's cascading down. But what a scene, isn't it incredible? The amount of water that's coming down through here is just amazing. And so I'll take a few shots and hopefully, fingers crossed, here's the image. Well, I think that's about it for today. We started off with a real challenge. We had strong light, no cloud cover, but fortunately during the winter, the sun still stays quite low and we get some lovely golden light, and we've found some lovely images. I think one of my favorites has to be the skeletonized leaf on the ice pattern, but you never know until you get them back. But let me know which is your favorite image. Leave a comment below. It helps with the channel. Give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Have a look at my website. There's limited edition prints available for sale. And thanks for watching. And well, I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.